Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It podcast. It's a lovely day today, and your host is back, GB. And the guest that I have today, she is apparently the official fourth Kardashian sister. She is Miss Reality, Madi Wrenkowski. How are you today?
I am good. I'm very good. Waking up.
I'm glad to hear. How have you been finding yourself during these times in terms, well, it actually appears that you've actually still been wrestling. So I just want to know, what's it been like for you to be wrestling during these times?
Yeah. So I mean, as awful as this pandemic has been,
Hmm.
I think it definitely has given me opportunities that I would not have gotten this fast in my career, such as AEW. So it has been incredible, amazing. Texas is actually our lovely governor has decided that I guess the pandemic is over in Texas somehow, magically. And he actually opened up all businesses and was like, hey guys, you don't actually have to wear a mask if you don't want to. So that's been a very interesting battle here. But for the most part, more wrestling promotions are opening up around, so bookings are
Mm,
picking up, and it's not just AEW, which was fine as well.
yeah.
But it's been nice. It's been amazing. Like it's almost like a silver linings type thing. Like as bad as this pandemic was, like I feel like it also helped my wrestling career.
Yeah. No, it's good that you can hear something positive during times like this, and to hear that from you, it's very good to hear that. I just want to know, rewinding the clocks a little bit, just before you became a wrestler, what made you a fan
Uh-huh.
of wrestling?
Yeah, so I actually got into wrestling because my brother. So my dad was like a huge sports guy, like every Sunday was watching football.
Hmm.
And that just wasn't my brother's thing. And my dad has this annoying habit of flipping through channels like when one's on a commercial.
Oh, okay.
Um, and so I guess while he was flipping, my brother saw China on the screen and he was like, whoa, what the heck? So he felt like, because I had to ask him, because I everyone always asks us, and I'm like, oh, my brother, but I never actually knew how he got into it.
Yeah.
So he saw China and he was like, oh my gosh. And of course, my dad kept flipping. Um, as he does. And so my brother said that he ran upstairs and he started going through the channels to try and find it. Cause like at that time, what is like basic cable. Um, and so he finally found it and it turned out to be WWE.
Mhm.
And I was my brother's brother. So I would always watch it with him because whatever he did, I did.
Did he always put
And
the moves on you as well then? Were you like his sort of test dummy?
yes, yes, 100%. So one of our favorite teams was Team Extreme and Lita.
Hmm.
So there were definitely a couple swantons being done. But he also liked to do the choke slam, but his favorite by far was always Jazz's bitch clamp. And I actually, like maybe in December, actually posted a video of us doing it like now, like in today's day and age.
Yeah.
And it's just weird. It's weird because like I'm taller now. He's also like the height that bigger than he was, and I'm letting this dude manhandle me. But it was fun. Jazz seemed to like it, so
That's quite crazy that you've just mentioned that, because I think I'm going to sort of ask and get to that as well. When you did make your debut, it was against Jazz. But before we do
yes.
discuss that, just quickly, does your brother still watch it, or did he get into it himself, or is he just it's in the
Yeah, no,
background now?
he still watches it. Uh
Nice.
WWE is recorded on our DVR, so is AEW. Um, and now that I'm on Dark and Dark Elevation, he's watching that as well.
Mm.
And like, I'll just be like, because they don't always watch it when it premieres.
Yeah.
And so just later in the thing, like he'll like message me like comments about it or whatnot. And he and my family have actually been a big proponent in my career. They've been a
Mm.
great support system, always going to shows. Like everyone's like, "Oh my God, is that your family?" I'm like, "Yes, yes it is." And he is also one of the main proponents as far as my gear and my merchandise. He's the one who designed like the literally like logo
I like
with
that. That's
me
pretty
there
cool.
and whatnot. So he has definitely had a big hand in it. So I guess I have to like include him in these things.
That's pretty cool. I like that. It's still got that support, because I know like a lot of people when they do get into wrestling, they're like, "Oh, don't do it. Why are you watching this?" And I like that your family
Yeah.
supported you. That's awesome.
Yeah, because we actually
Hmm,
watched the Beth Phoenix Icon episode the other day,
that was
and
great.
her mom was like not supportive until she got the Divas champion, and I
Hmm.
was like,
I always liked her. Yeah, I told her to do it since day one. So.
yeah, she's like, she was meant to do it, but like all before, she was like, I don't see why she's
Mm-mm,
doing it,
mm-mm.
and that seems to be like a consensus though of people who
Yeah.
aren't in, who don't really know about wrestling, but it was just funny to see that switch. She's like, yeah, she was meant for this. I was like, whoa.
No, I thought that was really cool. Was Beth one of your favorites as well growing up, by the way? Or was it just China in the Attitude Era and just sort of who was on at the time?
Yeah, so I kind of fell off a little bit in the middle
Hmm.
because as a like preteen and whatnot, you're like too cool for wrestling and whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
I lost a lot of friends because of that.
but no, it was definitely Lita was my big proponent. Jazz was terrifying. So
Mm,
she was always like whenever the video game started to allow you to play, I was always Lita. And I
mm.
remember like whenever we were like, okay, like my brother's like, I'm gonna give her a run for her money, he'd always choose Jazz because like she's scary. She's
She
very
was.
intimidating. And she still is sometimes. Yeah, like someone just shared this photo and I'm gonna have to put it on my Twitter. Like 2 years ago, we actually did a seminar and it was my first time meeting Jazz ever. And
Hmm.
in the photo, like you see Jazz and then like a good like 3 feet away, I'm like sitting over on the other side because she's scary.
Are you like,
And it's
can
like
you
two
tell
years
that you're
ago.
awkward in it as well? Or you just like,
No, you can tell there's a space. And so I even like commented on the photo. I was like, see, Jess, I told you I was scared of you. She's like, whatever.
that's wicked. Before we do talk about the debut against Jazz, I just want to know what actually made you want to become a wrestler full time, and how did you discover Thunder Rosa's promotion, Mission Pro, the Wrestling Academy?
Yes. So kind of like in this weird way, you know how like when you watch the Olympics and you're like, I could do that.
Hmm.
Um so I always wanted to do like a sport because I didn't ever actually want to have to like work for a living, if that made any sense. And so like I was like, okay, not can't do gymnastics. Like mm, I was going down the list and like none of them fit. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna do like rowing. Like I could probably get into that at like this age, and I was still young. But I was like, I could probably get into that. And then like obviously my rowing career never took off because I'd never stepped foot in one of those boats. Or I also can't swim, so that also
I
seemed
think that
like a
part
bad
helps a lot.
idea. It might. And so I was just going through college, and it was always like an ongoing joke whenever finals or midterms would come around. I was like, okay, I'm going to quit. I'm gonna become a professional wrestler. Like, I don't need this.
Mm,
And my mom was like, no, you better get your degree before you ruin your life. And I was like, bet. So I got my degree. I ended up trying to use my degree, and I was actually supposed to fly out to Hawaii. But 2 weeks before I was supposed to go there, a volcano erupted.
mm.
And I was like, this is fate. Like, my moment has come. So instead of like getting relocated, I was just like, it's fine. I'll do something else. So I used the good old Google, and I found out that Booker T in Houston actually had a fantasy camp. So I went to that to try it out to see if I would like it. And it was great. It was great. Booker T is way bigger than I ever imagined.
Mm.
He is so tall.
So the TV doesn't do him any justice then at all.
No, it was terrifying. I was not expecting that. So the fantasy camp was him and Disco Inferno. And actually there I met Gino Medina, which he is signed at MLW now. And he's actually the one who, after the fantasy camp, invited me out to a show in San Antonio to meet the instructor at Hybrid School of Wrestling, which is actually where I made my start. So I met Chris Marvel. And Chris Marvel actually, Thunder Rosa was just moving to the States around that time. I'm moving to Texas. And so he kind of like opened the doors to his school for her. And that's kind of how I got to know her. Like that's where I first made that introduction to Thunder Rosa, was when I first joined the school. So I wasn't even in the ring yet, but she was around. And so like she was on my radar. And then once they opened that first Mission Pro Genesis, which was my first match against Jazz, they had actually like was like, hey, like, is she ready? And my coach Marvel was like, yeah, she's ready. And so that's actually how that first introduction happened. Then a couple months or so, a year after, I would say, whenever Mission Pro changed to an all-female promotion, I saw that and I was like, okay, this isn't guaranteed. Like I might not just be like invited back. So I shot them email once I saw that, because I knew I had to be on there. Like I knew that Thunder Rosa, having the like platform that she does, I knew that this was going to be an opportunity to reach a wider audience. So as soon as I saw them post like, hey, we're doing an all-female promotion, I was like, hey, what's up? Still here. Still alive. And so I honestly think that Thunder Rosa's promotion and Robin Reed, who is actually the one who was the booker at that time, I think and I owe them a lot, because I feel like they really kickstarted my career, putting me up against Red Velvet, which is not a match that I ever imagined for myself. I feel like that match was the one that eyes actually like started being on me. Not only because it was a big platform, but it made me step up to the plate. She was not like anyone that I had ever wrestled before. And I think it's shown. And I think that kind of like, boom, like bumped up my game a little bit more. So I'll forever be thankful to them and for Thunder, and being at her school now. It's so incredibly fun. And you learn a lot. And like just the other day, we did like this drill. And at first I was a little angry about it. I was like, what the heck are we doing? So they had a bag, right? And they had animals in the bag. And we drew names, we drew animals, and we had to have a match as that animal. And I was slightly salty because my animal was a pig. And I was like, but it challenges you to like be creative and like.
It does sound kind of fun, if I'm going to be honest, but I'm a fan though. From a fan's perspective, it does sound fun. Is there footage of this, by the way?
I hope not, because my second match, I was a chicken, and I may or may not have laid an egg. So, I mean, I was committed. I was the chicken.
It was the best egg that they've ever seen in wrestling.
Yes, it may have gotten stepped on or something, but like I'm sure it's still.
Just don't show someone like Jim Cornette. He will. If there is footage of that, like you'll never hear the end of it.
Yes, but he doesn't know. What he doesn't know won't hurt him.
Might have to tag me in this one. Now I'll get blocked for that. That's why I just thinking about like the egg in the ring now. Throwing me off a little bit, that one. Didn't expect that answer, but no, that's cool. It's cool. Like it's it's giving you sort of that imagination, creativity. It's not just about the drills and the bumps, but it's also about the character, which is quite important.
Yeah, well, it gives you like and what I kind of took out of it was it helps you get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah,
like we do so many different things. We train so many different styles there. Like she introduced like the warm-ups they do in Japan, and that was hard. Like it was on another level. But then with this one, it was like getting out of your comfort zone, because like, yeah, I am who I am and I wrestle the way that I do, but never once have I gotten in front of an audience to purposely make a fool of myself as a chicken. So it kind of like almost rids you of that fear, because sometimes, like when you're at a wrestling promotion and they're like, put a mic in front of your face and they're like, cut a promo, and you're like, what? Like, you're not, like, you're gonna, obviously you've seen the many videos of the botches, like you're gonna make a fool of
Mm.
yourself sometimes, but
I feel
like
like it's kind of
it's just
a good thing to appear in Botchmania now these days.
sometimes.
I mean, depending how
If,
bad it is, but
yeah, sometimes it's a little hurtful to your pride, but it's fine. You get over it.
I think it makes you a bit more thick-skinned though. But
uh,
that's really awesome. That is. So I want to talk about the debut match. That it was your
yes,
first independent match, and it was against Jazz. I mean, and it was only like it was less than 2 years ago. Sorry, I'm forgetting that. Sorry, it was
yeah,
literally 2019 October. I mean, normally when I have guests on here, they've been wrestling for at least 5-10 years, and you've been wrestling for less than 2 years, and you're already on
yeah,
TV. And we will talk about that as well. But what was it like for you to wrestle someone that you looked up to growing up? And
yeah.
how were you nervous? What was she like to work with? Just can you tell me all about it, please?
Yeah, no, it was terrifying. I was definitely terrified. Um, because it was like my first independent match.
Mm,
And like it's one thing to like practice and go to training and whatnot, but it's a totally another playing field when there are people surrounding the rings. They don't know you. They don't care about your feelings. They're gonna
mm.
say whatever they want. So I was terrified, and I remember just standing behind the curtain right before I'm about to go out, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna throw up! I'm gonna throw up! I'm gonna throw up!" And the ref is over here like trying to calm me down, and he's like, "Just breathe, just breathe." I was like, "I can't, because now that you're telling me to breathe, like I just forgot how to breathe." Uh, and then of course, like leading up to that match, Jazz would always tell me, because at that time she was one of my trainers at Hybrid, and she would always be like, "Just remember, Maddie, I taught you some of what I know, not all of what I know." And I was like, thanks.
Right before the match as well.
Yeah. I was like, cool, 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 cool. And then, of course, like I did tape study. And so I was watching not only her WWE matches on YouTube, but some of her independent stuff just to get an
Mm.
idea of what to expect. And the one thing that kind of kept getting me is like literally before every match, the whole crowd starts chanting, "Jazz is gonna kill you." And I was like, yo, if they do that to me, like
You're not
I
wrong.
might either I might either cry or I might agree with them and join in. And so sure enough, I walk out there. She comes out in her like stealthy,
Mm.
scary entrance. And of course, they start chanting that. And I'm just, all I can do is smile. I expected it. And at this point, I anticipated it and I welcomed it. I welcomed death at that point. I was like, I got student loans. Like, this will be a nice first match. Like, we can just end it here. It's fine.
Mm. But you got through the match, and the match, I liked the match. It was fun, and I think,
Yeah.
I think you can tell, okay, you know, early on, still quite not green, but you can tell that you didn't look out of
Yeah.
place, if that makes sense,
Yes. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that you felt quite comfortable in the ring, and you couldn't have asked for a better opponent than Jazz. What was the feedback like from your colleagues and your friends, or basically everyone around you that watched that match?
Yeah, so it was not only like my first independent match, it was like my family's first independent wrestling match.
Mm.
And I had a bunch of my family come out just to support, and they were all like amazed and shook by everyone. Like my uncle could not stop talking about one of the wrestlers, Baby D. He was just so enamored by her like charisma. And then Jazz was just so intense. And like afterwards, my mom's like, "Are you okay? Like, are you okay? But like, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think so. We'll see." But it was just very overwhelming. I would say afterwards, feedback as well. Like my coach Marvel was there, and he was like, "Good stuff. Like sometimes you
Mm.
got to survive."
Yeah,
And that's what I did.
you survived, and you're
But
still here.
yeah, I
That's the main
survived.
thing.
And so yeah, it was definitely a lot of like coach support, family support. Because at that time I was very new in the business. I didn't really know too many girls in the business, so I didn't want to say like, oh, I don't have friends. But like, I didn't have friends.
Yeah.
I was there. I knew what I was there for. Like, they didn't know me. They didn't know what I was capable of. For all they knew, like, I was
Just
gonna
another
deal.
girl sort of thing. But
Yeah. So, jokes on that.
got the last laugh. So you got me doing it now. So I can be sassy as well. So
Yes, you can. That's what I'm here for. I open the door for sassiness. Unless it's against me, then I'll give it right back to you, especially on Twitter.
don't worry, I haven't got the balls to do that. Don't worry.
Good.
Just want to know then, as you've done your debut, it went well. You know, your family's they've invested in it, checking on you, seeing if you're okay, which is good. I just want to
Yeah.
know what other matches sort of early on in your career. Who have been some of your favorite opponents, and where have been some of your favorite locations to wrestle in?
Yeah, so I mean, independent wise, I don't
Mhm.
know if I have like a favorite location, um, per se. And as far as like independence, I don't know if I have a favorite opponent because like my goal is to just like murder these girls.
Mm.
Um,
I forget sometimes that you're all competing with each other, not just females but male as well. You're all, you are. It's a
yeah,
business at the end of the day as well.
yeah. Um, I would have to say like one of my favorite matches was at Mission Pro. Um, and it was probably La Rosa Negra. She's the Mission Pro champion right now.
Hmm.
Um, she's been in this business for a while, but she's probably one of the opponents that I walked away from, and I did lose the match, but I walked away from with a respect for her. And so I don't know. It was kind of like, it was weird. It was a different experience than one that
Mm.
I've experienced before. Like, obviously, there's Jasmine Allure, who, like, not a big fan of her. Um, and, like, I make that known. And it's like, I'll wrestle her, and, like, it almost always feels like unfinished business with her. But with
Yeah.
La Rosa, like, it was a championship match. She gave me fair shot because the first shot I had, my good old friend Jasmine Allure came in and decided to interfere and hit me with my own belt. So she's just like on a whole nother level. But La Rosa gave me the opportunity to have a fair title shot. And again, though I did not win, like I walked away with a whole new respect for her. Like she is a fighter through and through. Like everything that she's been through with wrestling, wrestling politics is what they call it, and everything she does in the ring, she is just incredible. So I think maybe she's my favorite opponent thus far.
Sweet. Jasmine
Yeah.
Law, watch out. I'm looking forward to you two getting in the ring
Well,
again.
actually, actually, the card just dropped. I will be wrestling her tonight on AEW Dark. Thank you to the
Nice.
AEW gods for putting me up against her.
Looking forward to that. I'll be on. I can watch that live. I think it's at the time
Yeah.
zone, but even I can watch that. Nice. I normally have to watch AEW in the morning, like during,
Yeah.
not during work. Wink, wink. Hopefully, no one from work watches this. Now that you mentioned AEW, I want to know, how did you end up there? Because the first time I saw you was against Layla
Yeah.
Hirsch on AEW Dark.
Yes.
So I just want to know, sort of, how did you get the role? Because you actually made it onto the intro this week, didn't you? On AEW Dark Elevation. Whoop whoop.
Yes, I did. I know. I got a text message about it and I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, go look at the intro. And I was at training and I was like, hold on, guys. And so I went and I watched it and I had to just like fangirl for myself. Like it doesn't seem real. It's very surreal. Like
Mm.
never in my life would I have imagined that I would be on an intro for a major company? Granted,
Mhm.
it's not like Dynamite, but it's Elevation
It's
and
still watched by like,
AEW.
I think just last
Yeah,
night's episode has only got like just 250,000 views already. Like that's
yeah.
mental.
Oh, but when it was only like 4 hours after it was posted, it already had 93,000, and I was like, my face. That was
I mean,
me.
honestly, like you must have marked out for yourself, and I think that's.
I did, and I
I
screen
wouldn't blame you.
recorded it, and I sent it to my family, and people are like sharing it on Twitter. I'm like retweet, like retweet, like
Like.
retweet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Like, and it's not even an
it was.
egotistical thing. It's just like, okay, I've got here, and I've really, got myself in this position. So you enjoy the moment. That's the thing. But
Yeah,
to talk more about the AEW, what was the AEW debut like for you? And oh yeah, sorry, because I had mentioned
yeah.
the
How
the
I got
intro, and I
into it.
got yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
you got me sidetracked. No, so Thunder Rosa, again, one of my trainers, she was definitely a big proponent in putting my name out there. And so a lot of little jealous people around this area would love to talk and say, like, oh, you're only there because of Thunder Rosa.
Mm,
And I am here to say thank you, Thunder Rosa, because you got me to that door. You
yeah,
got me to the AEW door, and they saw me, they saw my stuff. So yes, Thunder Rosa did get me there. She helped get me this opportunity, but that's what anything is about aligning yourself with people who are going to
mm.
make you better. And so I made the smart decision to train with Thunder Rosa. Like that was on me. So there's my
And it's not
one.
like she'd put her
My
neck out the
two.
line if you was, say, for example, if you was really bad or anything like that, or if you've just got the job because you're a friend and then they saw you one time, like they wouldn't put you on TV or even on AW Dark
Exactly.
or anything.
And
If
that's
you,
the thing. Like, she doesn't stand above the ring. She doesn't have like a little puppet strings, and she doesn't
yeah,
wrestle for me. So, like, maybe you can say the first time it was because of Thunder Rosa, and that's fine. I'll accept that.
yeah,
But what about the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth and the
yeah,
sixth? Who is
and the
that?
many, 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 many more
Who
times that
is
we will be
that?
seeing you.
Yes, exactly. So it's very nice to humble them, because I love seeing all these people like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear over all of your losses on AEW Dark. And it kind of lit a fire under me.
Mm.
And my first win was against Leva. And like some people say I cheated, I say I just thought smart. She left a book on the ring. So like it was really her fault. And I got the win. And I don't hear anyone talking anymore about all my
Mm-mm.
losses. I was like, come again?
Yeah, it's in the record books now. That W is yours, and it
Yes,
doesn't
it
matter
is.
how you got the W. It's that
No,
about
it
the
does.
letter. That is it.
A win is a win.
Exactly.
Until they decide to take it away from me. But a win is a win.
I'll cut this bit out, so just in case.
But yeah, no,
um,
it was great. And it was terrifying as well. Just going in there and seeing all of these superstars and
mm,
these people who have done it way longer than I have. So it's very humbling of an experience, because coming from like the Texas independent scene uh, to AEW is like a totally different world. So it was terrifying.
and it
But
was
I'm glad
literally
I'm
like your
there.
first year, wasn't it? Was it just over a year that you got to? Was it in December 2020 you got there?
Yes. Yeah.
You
But
literally
the
just
whole
got one
first
year in the
part of,
business.
I would say
Already on
like
AEW.
halfish, because like the pandemic took out like a good 6 months of wrestling, if not more.
Even more reason to brag there.
Exactly. That's why I had to add that little piece of information and got to put myself over.
That's wicked. So, what is the backstage atmosphere like? I know you just mentioned about you seeing all these people that have been doing it for years, and just
Yeah.
you must have been a bit of sort of in shock, or sort of did you find yourself marking out a little bit when you saw someone like Jericho there, Jim Ross there, and
Yeah, Matt Hardy. Like, hello. It's surreal. It's surreal to see them, because the atmosphere that Tony Khan and the rest of the execs at AEW have created is a very open one. they have allowed someone like me to go in and to feel comfortable being there, to feel like we belong.
Yeah.
And they encourage, in fact, like you not being like timid, scared, don't talk to anyone, like be afraid. They like discourage that, and they encourage you to talk to people, at least say hello. And like there I have had Dustin like give me advice and talk to me, and Eddie Kingston. And Eddie Kingston was my first wrestling seminar ever, ever.
Nice. That's
And
wicked.
so like I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember, but I just wanted to let you know that you were my first ever wrestling seminar. And from that I took away, because his main takeaway was being real. Like if you want people to believe in you, you need to believe in what you're saying. You need to be real. And whether it's a good thing or a bad thing that you're being real about, like that's all you can do.
Yeah.
And hence Miss Reality was born. And I told him that. And I was like, you are a big proponent in that. And he was like, wow, like, thank you. And if you ever need anything, like, let me know, like advice, whatever. And every single time that I've seen him there since, he's just been so kind and so forthcoming with advice, pep talks, whatever it may be. So it's been amazing. It's an amazing atmosphere back there. They really held to their promise about, or their, I guess, mission statement about being different.
Yeah.
They really have.
Nah, it's good to hear, because it just, you do get those sort of like it's one big family, and you do get good vibes, and everyone talks about Tony Khan being a good boss, and just the general locker room. It's good to hear that. I want to know, because you're talking about Jasmine Allure, but another person that I want to talk about, that you may need to get revenge on. You was given a curb stomp by Britt Baker, and then to make things even worse, they drew Thunder Rosa's design on you, Reba as well. I'd like to know, while they were laughing in your face, can we expect to see you get revenge on them?
I mean, who really knows what the future holds? I mean, they took out their vendetta against Thunder Rosa on me just because I am one of her mentees. She's my mentor, I guess. But it seems like Thunder Rosa put her in her place pretty hard at on Dynamite. So we'll see if she comes back for us a little bit later. We'll just see. We just have to see.
I'll keep my eye out. But no, that match was awesome. Oh, that match was that was insane. That match they had. So I'll be looking forward to that. How's your cat doing? The reason I have to ask is because I'm a cat person. I prefer cats and dogs. So how old is she?
She is, I believe, 2. She'll be 3 in August. Yeah.
I just had to ask. Sorry, I saw it. It's like,
no, you're good. You're good. Yeah. No, I was actually, I'm a dog person.
Really?
But this little orange cat wandered into the wrestling gym, and our coaches were like, "Oh, it's gonna pee on everything," and they like kicked it out, like shut the doors. And we got out at like midnight that night, and this little cat was still outside, and I was like, I'm gonna see if it has a microchip. So I took it, and at like where I worked, the place across the street could like scan for microchips, and she didn't have one. And I was like, what did I just do? And so I was like, oh, hey, animal shelters, I found this cat. And they're like, it's $75 to surrender your animal. I was like, first off, it's not mine. And then I called another animal control place, and they're like, cats can be outside. And I was like, first off, this is someone's cat. It had a collar. It had a collar on it. And so I was like posting on Facebook, posting little ads in the newspaper, and no one ever claimed their cat. And so I was like, well, shoot. So I bought her like all of the stuff she needs, and she grew on me, and she grew on my family. We had like never really had cats. We were always big dogs. And she right now is at my parents' house when I go out of town, and she is the head dog. Like she tells them what to do. Yeah, like she runs it. And one of them gets out of line. We call them skibbity paps, like Tony Baker's comedy thing. When he does the voiceover, when the cats hit the animals or the people, they call them skibbity paps. So she'd be doing all the time, keeping them in line.
Oh,
So I think she likes it there.
I'm I like just such a softie for like cats. It's just like that's a lot of my time I spend like when I wake up first thing. It's not making breakfast; it's watching cat videos on Instagram. So
yeah, well, she's definitely a sight to see because like right now, the 3 dogs that are at our house, it's a pit bull, some type of mastiff, and then a German shepherd. So it's all 60 pounds to like 100-pound dogs, and this little 8-pound cat is just smacking the crap out of them, just like keeping them in line, like don't sniff me, don't touch my food. Like she has them in line. It's amazing how much like they love her and now she loves them. And we'd never had a cat and a dog at the same time, so it's weird.
I love that. I wasn't really allowed cats when I was sort of younger because my brother's allergic to them, and then with dogs, I was allergic to dogs. you just couldn't make it up. So to wrap this interview, it's been really fun, by the way. So thank you for coming on today.
No problem.
I know you've used Spice Girls as your entrance theme, and me being a fellow Brit, I want to know who's your favourite Spice Girl and what's your favourite Spice Girl song?
Yeah, so when we were younger, we always would play the parts, and I was always Posh Spice. I'm not really sure why. I think it was because like I was the younger one of our family, so maybe I got the last pick. I definitely don't identify with her, but I do love me some Victoria Beckham. So like when I was younger, I was like Posh Spice, like ride or die. Still love her just because I liked her when I was younger. But I feel like maybe I should have identified more with Sporty Spice. But and Wannabe obviously has to be my favorite song.
It's a great song, not gonna lie.
Yes,
it's one of those songs when I'm drunk, like if I hear it in the nightclub, I'm just like
yeah, it's a hype song and everyone knows it, so that's like that iconic laugh at the beginning.
I don't consent, I'm that old. So with the Kardashian intro that I mentioned earlier, and something that you do brag about being the official, unofficial 4th Kardashian, who is your favorite Kardashian?
Kourtney Kardashian, hands down, not even a question asked.
Fair play. I don't watch it. I just thought I'd ask because I want to be different on the show. But not that I'm against reality. I love Jersey Shore. Just thought I'd throw that out there. I see the look now. I'm getting the evils.
The last podcast I was on, she also didn't watch Keeping Up with Kardashians, so I'm thinking that needs to be a pre-rep question I ask.
For me to appear, you need to at least watch one season of the show. Oh, this isn't getting retweeted by you, is it?
You'll have to watch that episode of my choice.
Oh well, I've got no excuse really because it's like we're in lockdown at the moment. So to wrap this up, one last question, and I'd like to know, who would you like to wrestle if given the chance to that you've not wrestled before? It can be someone currently in AEW or the Indies, someone that you've got an eye on, or if you want to go back in the past. I didn't really like that very well, but you know what I mean. So basically, past or present, who would you like to wrestle and why? If you can pick one.
Female wise, I think I would like to wrestle Rhea Ripley. I think she could possibly kill me. So I would like to try a different style, see how I can work around her powerhouse strength. On the guy side, I would like to wrestle Enzo Amore, mainly because I would just love to see him cut a promo. I want to see him cut a promo.
I didn't expect
pre-match.
I really like Enzo, and I get shit for it if I mention it. Like, he's really funny, and I miss him. You don't know anything about wrestling. So give it a rest.
Yeah, see, that's also one of the proponents that brought reality to light. He was just so charismatic, and he is the real one. So I'm still waiting on the day for me to meet him, but one day. Now that he's on the independents, hopefully
you can get a tag team with him in the mixed match. That'd be pretty good.
I would die. I would literally be like dying the whole time. I don't know if I would ever tag in. By the way?
Not the
No, I
UK.
have
Sorry, I'm the
not.
UK. Have you wrestled outside the US yet? I know when you
No,
debuted, but then 6 months it was pandemic happened. So have you not had the chance
yeah,
yet?
no, I have not. But I really hope that once everything opens up, I
Hmm.
definitely would love to travel and go overseas, even to the UK.
Ooh,
Australia is one of my big ones that I'm gunning for. Maybe Japan,
mm,
but definitely want to hit those three for sure.
that's great. So where can fans find you on social media?
Yeah, they can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all under Madi_Wrenkowski. That's Madi_WRENKOWSKI. If you can spell it, you can find it. In all of the bios of my social medias, you can find my Big Cartel merchandise website.
Brilliant. I shall put all those details in the description. I want to thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for your time. I'm
Yes.
looking forward to seeing you on AEW tonight, as you mentioned earlier in the podcast. But for now, I want you to stay safe, and hopefully next time we can do this. It's in person in the UK. But for now, take care. Thank
Yes.
you.